Beloved soul, listen closely, because something sacred is unfolding around your heart right now. There is a truth that has been hidden in silence, and the one you have been wondering about is finally gathering the courage to speak it. For a long time, they carried feelings they did not understand, emotions they were afraid to reveal, and love they believed they were not ready to give. But heaven has been watching every quiet moment, every prayer you whispered when you felt unseen. Nothing about your journey has been ignored. The angels have stood beside you, even when you believed you were walking alone. And now the truth that was once locked inside another heart is beginning to rise to the surface. Not because of pressure, not because of guilt, but because the divine timing of God is moving their spirit. The scripture says in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." And this love has also had its season of waiting. Your person held back for reasons deeper than you may have imagined. Some of it was fear. Fear of losing you. Fear of not being worthy of the love you carry so naturally. They watched you from a distance more times than you realize. They noticed your kindness. They saw the way you care for others. They felt something awaken inside their soul, and it frightened them because it was real. Real love has a way of revealing the parts of ourselves we try to hide. And your presence did exactly that. It uncovered their insecurities. It showed them their own wounds. It made them realize that loving you would require honesty they were not ready to face at that time. But the heart cannot hide forever when God is guiding the story. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Your person tried to guard their heart by staying silent. They believed distance would protect both of you. Yet the more they tried to step away from these feelings, the stronger the truth became inside them. They began to notice that every path somehow led their thoughts back to you. Your name echoed in moments of quiet. Your memory appeared in unexpected places. Even in their prayers, your presence started to appear. Because when love is aligned with divine purpose, it cannot be erased by fear. God has a mysterious way of bringing clarity to hearts that once lived in confusion. And slowly, your person began to understand what they had been running from. They were not running from you. They were running from the responsibility of loving someone who could truly see them. But growth changes people. Life has been teaching them lessons you may never fully see. Moments of reflection, moments of regret, moments where they realize that silence can hurt more than honesty. And now something inside them is shifting. The walls they built around their emotions are beginning to soften. The truth they once buried is now asking to be spoken. Because love that is guided by God will always find its voice. 1 Corinthians 13:4 reminds us love is patient. Love is kind. And your patience has not been invisible to heaven. Every time you chose kindness instead of bitterness, something powerful was happening in the unseen world. Your strength was planting seeds. Seeds that are now beginning to grow in the heart of the one who once hesitated. They are realizing that the love they felt for you was never meant to remain hidden. It was meant to be spoken. It was meant to be shared. It was meant to be lived. So, if you have been sensing a shift, if your spirit has been whispering that something is about to change, trust that feeling. Because sometimes the truth takes time to travel from the heart to the lips. But when the moment finally arrives, it carries a power that can change everything. And the one who once stayed silent may soon stand before you with the honesty they were once too afraid to reveal. If this message touches your heart, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Angel's Message Motivation, and write the word truth in the comments as a sign of faith that honesty and love are finding their way into your life. Beloved, the moment when truth finally rises is never random. It is often the result of many silent battles inside the human heart. Your person has been walking through those battles quietly, even while appearing calm on the outside. There were nights when they questioned themselves, nights when memories of you returned unexpectedly, moments when they realized that the feelings they tried to suppress had never truly disappeared. Instead, those emotions were waiting patiently beneath the surface, waiting for the day when courage would finally be stronger than fear. You see, sometimes a person holds back love not because they do not feel it, but because they are afraid of what loving deeply will require from them. Love asks for vulnerability. Love asks for truth. Love asks a person to stand without masks. And for someone who has carried wounds, this can feel overwhelming. Psalm 34:18 reminds us, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Your person has had their own hidden pain, pain they rarely spoke about, pain that shaped the way they responded to love. They believed keeping distance would protect them from being hurt again. But what they did not realize is that distance was also keeping them away from the very blessing God placed before them. And that blessing was you. They began to notice that every attempt to move forward without you felt incomplete. Conversations with others never carried the same depth. Moments of joy somehow felt unfinished. Because once the heart recognizes a connection that is genuine, it cannot easily replace it. That realization has been growing inside them slowly, like a quiet light that becomes brighter with time. At first, they ignored it. Then they questioned it. Now they can no longer deny it. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." This verse is not only about destiny. It is also about timing. Because sometimes God allows distance and silence so that hearts can mature before they unite. Your person needed time to understand the value of what they almost lost. Time to recognize that love is not something to run away from. It is something to protect, something to nurture, something to speak openly about. And now the truth they once avoided has become impossible to hide. Their heart is beginning to move in a new direction. The hesitation that once controlled their actions is slowly dissolving. They are starting to understand that honesty is the only path forward. Not just honesty with you, but honesty with themselves. Because the longer a person carries unspoken feelings, the heavier their heart becomes. And your person is tired of carrying that weight. They are ready to release the truth that has been waiting inside them. Ready to explain the silence. Ready to reveal the emotions they tried to hide for so long. This moment will not come with perfection. Human hearts rarely express love perfectly. But it will come with sincerity, with a desire to finally stop pretending that the connection between you was ever ordinary. Because deep within their spirit, they know something sacred has been unfolding between your lives. A connection that did not disappear even during moments of distance. A connection that remained alive in quiet ways. And now the truth is preparing to step into the light. If this message resonates with your spirit, show your support by liking this video, subscribing to Angel's Message Motivation, and write the word faith in the comments as a declaration that you trust the divine timing unfolding in your life. Beloved, what is happening now is something that often occurs quietly before it becomes visible. A heart that once resisted love begins to soften in ways that cannot be reversed. Your person has reached a moment of awareness that they never expected to face. They are starting to understand that the feelings they carried were never temporary. They were real, they were deep, and they were meant to lead them back to you. There were times when they convinced themselves that silence was the safest choice. They believed that if they said nothing, the emotions would eventually fade. But the heart does not forget what God has written upon it. Psalm Solomon 8:7 reminds us, "Many waters cannot quench love. Rivers cannot sweep it away." Your connection has carried that kind of quiet strength, even when distance existed, even when words were not spoken. Even when confusion created space between you, something invisible continued to hold the thread of this story together. And that thread was guided by divine purpose. Your person has been reflecting more than you may realize. Certain memories return to them repeatedly. Moments when they saw your kindness. Moments when they felt understood by you in ways they had never experienced before. Moments when they sensed peace simply by being near you. Those memories have become impossible to ignore. They have started asking themselves difficult questions. Questions about why they hesitated. Questions about why fear held such power over their choices. Questions about what might happen if they finally allow themselves to be honest. Proverbs 3:5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding." Your person tried to rely on their own understanding for too long. They tried to analyze feelings that were meant to be felt, not controlled. They tried to reason with emotions that came directly from the soul. But now their perspective is changing. Life has been teaching them that love cannot grow in silence forever. At some point, the truth must breathe. At some point, the heart must speak, and that moment is approaching closer than you think. They are slowly gathering the courage to say what has remained unspoken. Not just the feelings they have for you, but also the reasons they stepped back when they should have stepped forward. They want you to understand the journey they had been on, because the truth is this: their silence was never meant to reject you. It was a reflection of their own internal struggle. A struggle between fear and love. A struggle between doubt and faith. And now, love is finally beginning to win that battle. Romans 12:12 encourages us, "Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer." Your patience has not been meaningless. Every moment you chose hope instead of bitterness created space for healing. Every prayer you whispered carried weight in the spiritual world. And slowly, those prayers have been shaping the path ahead. The truth your person is preparing to reveal will not just explain the past. It will open the new chapter that was once delayed by uncertainty. Because when honesty finally arrives, it clears away the confusion that once stood between two hearts. It creates a chance for understanding, a chance for healing, a chance for love to move forward without fear controlling the story. And when that truth is finally spoken, you may realize that the silence you experienced was never the end of the connection. It was simply the quiet space before the heart found its courage. If this message speaks to your spirit, support this channel by liking the video, subscribing to Angel's Message Motivation, and write the word hope in the comments as a sign that you believe truth and love are aligning in your life. Beloved soul, the awakening that is happening inside your person is deeper than simple emotion. It is a moment where the heart finally stops hiding from what it has always known. For a long time, they tried to convince themselves that staying quiet was the responsible choice. They told themselves that silence would protect both of you from complications, from expectations, from the vulnerability that real love requires. But the heart is not designed to carry truth in chains forever. Eventually, the soul begins to push against those walls. Your person has reached that turning point, a moment where they can no longer ignore what their spirit has been whispering. Matthew 10:26 says, "For there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." These words hold power for your situation right now, because the truth they kept inside is no longer comfortable to hide. It has been pressing against their conscience, pressing against their peace. They have started realizing that every time they avoided honesty, something inside them felt incomplete. You may not have seen it, but there were moments when they wanted to speak, moments when they almost reached out, Moments when your name appeared on their phone and their heart began to race. Yet fear would whisper again. Fear of rejection. Fear that too much time had passed. Fear that their silence might have already changed everything. But God has a way of restoring courage when the time is right. Isaiah 41:10 says, "So, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." This verse has been quietly guiding them, even if they did not realize it at first. Because courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. Your person is beginning to understand that honesty is the only way their heart can find peace again. They are seeing clearly now that silence created more confusion than truth ever could. And this realization has been heavy on their mind. They are reflecting on the moments they wish they had handled differently, the conversations they wish they had allowed to happen, the love they wish they had been brave enough to acknowledge sooner. These reflections are not meant to punish them. They are meant to awaken them, to show them that some connections are too meaningless to be ignored, that some people enter our lives not by accident, but by divine orchestration. And when a person finally understands that, their entire perspective changes. The walls they once relied on start to feel unnecessary. The distance they created begins to feel like something they want to repair. And the truth they once feared becomes the very thing they long to express. His honesty carries a strange kind of freedom. When the heart speaks truth, it no longer has to hide. It no longer has to pretend. It simply becomes real. That is the place your person is approaching now. A place where their voice may finally match what their heart has known for a long time. And when that moment arrives, it will not just be about explaining the past. It will be about honoring the connection that never truly disappeared. It will be about stepping forward with sincerity where there was once hesitation. Because sometimes love does not vanish during silence. Sometimes it grows quietly until the day courage is strong enough to reveal it. If this message touched your heart today, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Angel's Message Motivation, and write the word courage in the comments as a declaration that truth and bravery are guiding your path forward.